Hey everyone, it's Raz from the Semi-Retired Samurai, and today I want to talk to you about how I started my side business while working full time and some of the lessons I learned from this experience. Now, I'm sure many of you are going to work and you're feeling really tired about your job. Maybe it's something that you weren't very passionate about, and I think most people are not quite satisfied with their career and they want to look to do something else. I think I think they say that you change your career like 3 times in your lifetime or something like that. But for me, I thought I wanted to do something different because my job was wearing on me. It was something I didn't enjoy. I was in a career that I wasn't meant to be in. I kind of just went with what my parents wanted me to do, and I didn't really fulfill uh, my destiny, and I didn't feel like I was living the life that I want to live, and I just couldn't see myself doing it for the rest of my life. And I'm sure there's many people that feel the same way when they get to a career that they don't want to be in. And so I thought about it every day. I was at work, thinking of things that I would do differently, thinking of businesses I could start. And so I think the final straw was when I was getting bypassed for some promotions. I didn't like the office politics, working with certain people that were difficult to work with. And I just didn't like having my life controlled by my employer. When I can take time off, how long I can take time off, how much I make, and having them determine my value within the company. So I start to think about these things, especially when I took the subway to work. It's a place where I got to observe people, okay? And I really like sitting there, just people watching, just seeing how they go about their day. And when I was sitting on the subway on a Monday, I would just see people's faces. They would seem very sad. A lot of them were tired. And we'd get off at the stop, and then we'll all head up the escalator to our building, to our offices, get the coffee, come out, maybe talk to a few coworkers, and get to work. And then Friday comes, everyone's smiling, they're happy, and they get on the train, and you know they're ready for the weekend. Then Monday comes around, and they're the same facial expressions again, tired look, and looking like they don't want to be there. And I just kind of felt like I was like cattle being herded into a cage and just sent for the slaughter. So I knew something had to give. And one day I just thought to myself, well, I had enough, and I wanted to make the transition from working for a corporation to working for myself. And I didn't quit my job right away. So what happened was I knew that I had to pay bills. I had just recently got married, and I thought it was an irresponsible thing to do just to leave my job for a dream. So I started to do some market research, and I started to figure out like, okay, what am I going to do as a business? And it always came back to what I was passionate about. And it was the martial arts, and something that I was trained in, something I was good in, and something that I was very passionate in. But my father always told me that there was no opportunities for me in the field, and that I would never make money as a martial artist. Basically, he said it wasn't a viable business. And I decided not to listen to him. And I'm glad I did, because I started to do my market research. And at that time, it was early 2000. And the boot camps, the athletic fitness boot camps, were really big at the time. And they were making a lot of money because they would just take their classes outside where they didn't have to pay rent. I think at the time they were charging, if I recall, something like $200 for a 4-week program. And I thought, okay, well, that seems like a pretty good deal. They were popping up everywhere. And I thought to myself, okay, well, what can I do that would follow that model but be unique and different? And being a martial artist, I thought, okay, well, why don't I teach kickboxing? And I'll teach kickboxing to corporate women, but make it into a boot camp style where there's fitness drills along with kickboxing drills. And it was non-contact, so nobody got hurt. And I decided to test the idea out. And I didn't have a lot of money at the time to to invest in market research. So I thought, okay, well, why not we do this? We put out an ad, but we didn't have Facebook ads, stuff like that at the time. So what I did was I hired a local guy that put up posters around the city, and we put out these posters that had this little strip tags on it with the number on it, where to contact us. And my wife, what she did was she went to post on Craigslist. And at the time, Craigslist was used for people to sell stuff only, and very few businesses put their services on there. And what we noticed was that when we put our services on there, our local search rankings went up because Craigslist at the time had a very high ranking search authority. So we were showing up on the first four results when people looked up fitness boot camps in our area. And by the first week, I had 12 slots open for my classes, and it was sold out already. And I thought, wow, this is great, right? And so I need to find a venue, and of course I didn't want to take on a lease because I didn't know if the idea was going to work. So I rented. I got in touch with a yoga studio, and I started to rent space during the times when they weren't holding class. And that's basically what I did. And we eventually went out to partner up with Lululemon and put our posters in their stores, which garnered us some business as well. And I remember that first day we held classes, and I remember being so nervous. And I went in to teach the class, and the 12 women were there, sold out. And I thought this was fantastic. I remember that. I still remember that day, that feeling I have of ownership. And we made $800 after the expenses were paid. And that was not bad. This was 2004, I believe, if I recall. And so for someone that was newly married and we had, jobs at the time, we were still, a married couple just trying to find our way. So that extra $800 per month was really, really helpful. And it inspired me and motivated me to see what I can do further and how I can grow this thing. And so I decided to add another class. And I added a second class at the same location, and it was sold out. So I had 24 students in total. And I thought, wow, this is great. So I went ahead and I searched for another location, another city, so that I have my weeks filled with classes. And before you know it, it was growing like crazy. I had a waiting list of clients. And that year, I made my first 6 figures. And I thought I was just over the moon. It was awesome. And I remember us having those old imprint Visa machines that we would take payments from the clients from. And we also took in cash as well because we didn't have a payment system. And there wasn't like online stuff that we're doing today with the swipe cards and stuff like that. And I just remember my wife collecting the money at the end of class. She'd bring it home. She'll have all the cash in this plastic Ziploc bag. And to us, it just seemed like, wow, it was a lot of money. And so after that, I realized I had something. And I had, what I had did was I told my employer that I was going to take a few months off of leave of absence, And that's what I did during that time, was to test the model, test my business to see if it was going to last. And it met the test. And so after 3 months, they had called me, and my boss called me, said, well, Raz, we're ready for you to return to work, and we have all this ready for you to do when you come back. And I remember pausing over the phone, and I said, well, I'm not coming back anymore. And there was this silence. And my boss said, oh, I'm surprised. And I said, yeah, I'm not coming back. I started my own business, and this is the way I'm going to go. And my boss was very happy for me. For a lot of people, they didn't understand why I would leave a job, because it was a government job. I had a phenomenal pension, and it wasn't too stressful. I had good work balance, but something was missing. I was bored. I didn't feel fulfilled, and I certainly didn't feel it was my destiny. And ever since I was a kid, I always felt that I was capable of doing more. And I didn't want to be that normal, regular Joe that got a job, went to university or college, and got a job, and went out, got married, bought the house, and worked till 65 and retire and enjoy. It wasn't for me. I thought that why not enjoy every day, enjoy what I love to do, so it doesn't feel like work, and that's what I did. And I never looked back since that day. And after that, we didn't expand the business, but we grew in membership. And I thought to myself, well, what's the next step? And there was ups and downs, and not everything went up. There was a big downturn in 2009 when when we had the housing bust, and the economy wasn't doing so well. And I noticed that one of the things that I faced was having inexperience and not knowing how to scale a business, because I was a one man show. So everything rested on me, and we didn't really have a system in place to grow the business. And eventually, my business was start to go down as the boot camp phase started to phase out. So that was probably around 2014, and I had a good run, and I decided to close up shop. And after that, it was a few years of quite a lot of financial challenges, and probably one of the biggest tests I ever had, because here it was now, I didn't know what to do, because my identity was tied to being a martial arts instructor. And the thought of going back to work and doing something I didn't love anymore was very daunting, and almost an admission of failure as well, which I was quite embarrassed of. So I tried different things that made some money here and there, but it wasn't really reaching the levels that I had earlier. And so eventually I got back into owning my own martial arts school in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And from there, it took off again. So my message to you is, if you are starting a new business or thinking of starting a new business, hopefully you can take inspiration from my life lesson and my journey, because for me, it was more painful to stay in something for the rest of my life that I didn't enjoy, and to not be living by my authentic self. And I hope that if you're sitting on the fence, to give it a try. You don't have to go full out on it. Just try a little bit. Step into it a little bit. Do it part-time. And if you do, put in all your effort into it. Make sure that you really, really give it a good chance, because some people start off, they think about it, and they go into it half-heartedly, and then they say, oh, it doesn't work, and they give up on their dream. So you have to really commit to it. If that's what you want to do, you commit to it and you see it through. And for me, I have no regrets, because, like I said, there's ups and downs in working for yourself, and obviously it wasn't always a bed of roses for me. But what I learned was to be resilient, and I was determined to succeed. And I tell you, once you succeed with that first side business, and you're able to, whether you keep it as a side hustle or decide to make it a full time, there is no feeling like it. To be able to have ownership of your life, ownership of your business, and basically own everything in your life and have it on your own terms. And later on, when you decide to maybe scale it, and you could step back away from the business and have systems in place where other people are helping you run it, so you're not there all the time. Now you've freed up your time. You've got an asset that is generating you income while you sleep, and now you got freedom in your life. And to me, despite all the ups and downs, it was all worth it. All worth it. And I'll never trade it for the world. And the one thing I do regret was I didn't start sooner. I think one of the worst things I ever did was to listen to other people's negativity and take it as the gospel truth. And thank God that I was able to finally say enough's enough. I'm gonna go for it, and I don't care what anybody says. So I hope that video inspires you, and take action. Yeah. And if you like my videos or you like the content, please feel free to like and subscribe. And if you have a chance, check out my other videos. Okay? I'll talk to you next time. Take care. Bye now.